Hello and welcome finally to week 10 of the video blog. Now I know it's just going to have to be episodes from now on because I realise we're so far behind, but I hope this is worth waiting for. Big apologies that it's taken a while to get this one up. There's been camera problems, I had to do a funeral, there's just all sorts of things that have happened, but this is what it's like when you're a writer, so this gives you an insight into the kind of life that I lead and the manicness that is my life. Thank you very much for your questions. Thanks as well for the really great reaction that you had for all the cast members that we came up with last time. Now this time you'll notice on the blog that I have the actor that I think will play the handsome stranger, who's at the centre of It Started With a Kiss. It's the person that Romilly is spending a year of her life looking for because she has this amazing encounter with him on the last Saturday before Christmas, and it's just so amazing that she decides to spend a year trying to find him. So you'll see who that is. Now I'd be interested to know what you think. Is that your kind of romantic stranger? Could you imagine, you know, looking for him for a year? Or do you have better suggestions? Do you think there's someone else? I'd be really interested to know. So please feel free to let me know what you think. And we'll move on from there, and I'll hopefully post your suggestions next time as well so that people can see. Right, quickly, the hat, you'll notice it's a new hat, everybody. Woo! And this is actually from a charity shop. I've decided charity shop hats are the way forward because I realised that I don't have 52 hats. And I know that we've had a couple of repeats recently, so I thought it's about time, especially because it's lovely sunny weather. I thought it would be nice to have a new hat. Well, newish. So I went to my local Ten of Us charity shop, and this was £1. So there we go. And what I might do at the end of the year is auction these off for charity. So if you've got any ideas of how I can do that, let me know. I've not got any idea how to do that at all, but I'd welcome your suggestions. Right, now, where am I at with the edits? The good news is that I've rewritten the opening chapter, which seems like such an easy thing to do, but actually because what happens in the opening chapter is referred to all the way through the book, it's turned out to be quite an important thing to get right, and I had to come up with a couple of versions, and in the end we've got one that I think is working. The other edits were going on at the same time as well. I haven't just been writing one chapter between now and then, because that would seriously be in trouble with my deadline if that was the case. So I've sent that off to my editor. She really likes it. So hopefully that's strong enough now. It's very Christmassy. I've really upped the Christmas factor, just because you need to know why it's such a magical day when it happens, although it doesn't seem like a magical day at the beginning. Now last time I said that I was writing new scenes. One of the big things that has changed between the original manuscript and this manuscript, or the structural edit of the manuscript, is that Romilly's going to have a blog. Now initially it was a Facebook page that her Mad Uncle Dudley and Auntie Mags, who you'll love, is the couple that she kind of feels closer to than her mum and dad. But they were going to start a Facebook campaign for her that was all going to go a bit haywire. And when we thought about it, I thought, no, actually, I want you to know why Romilly's doing this. So she's going to do a blog. And, you know, I like blogging. Loads of my friends who are writers blog. And I just thought it might be a really good way for you to sort of see where she's at on her journey, the kind of battles that she's facing, the kind of things that she's thinking. So we're going to have blog posts going throughout the book to sort of show you where things are happening. So I've been writing those, and they're really cool. Once I get to the end of the structural edit, what I might do is post a couple of scenes either on the blog, or I'll make it as a download so that you can kind of get a view of some of the new things that are in there, and if you'd be interested in that, I think that would be a good thing to do. So that's where I'm at the moment. Now your questions, you've probably all forgotten that you've asked me questions because it's been so long, but here we go. Kirsty from Novelicious, hi Kirsty. She asked me quite a few questions last time, so I'm kind of spreading them out. She asked me a really good question, and she said, what do you think are the most important elements of chick lit? I think there's quite a few, and it's one of those things. I don't know if some people would say my books aren't chick lit because they haven't got shoes and shopping, but I think they are. I'm quite happy to say I'm a chick lit writer. I'm quite proud of the fact. I think the most important thing is to have a lead character that you love, I think, or at least that you're fascinated with. And I think for me that's the key. I need to have characters that I feel some kind of a connection with, even if it is that I'm I think they're really bad to begin with, and then I want them to be nice or whatever it is. So I think that's really important, and I hope that all my characters do that. I spend a long time trying to make sure that my characters are really, you know, really come off the page, and I hope that they do that. I think it's important to have something that you can identify with. Personally, I'm not a massive fan of kind of what they called escapist chick lit, so the kind of big budget, you know, everybody has a glamorous job, they all work in London in PR. It's great if you want a bit of escapism. Those books are amazing, and they sell by the bucket loads, and they're wonderful. For me, I'm more interested in the story, and I'm more interested in kind of a situation that I could almost imagine myself in, because I think that's the thing about a good film. If you can imagine yourself in the lead role, then I think that you know, it really comes alive. And so that's what I try and do in my books. I tend to write my books very much like movies, because that's how I see them in my head. So you'll notice there's lots of short chapters like you'd have scenes in a movie. I think humour is important. I think it's vital. And some of the writers that I most admire, people like Marion Keyes and Jill Mansell, who are just so brilliant at injecting humour in. And I love books where you're laughing one minute and then you're in tears the next minute, and then you're really sort of scared the next minute. I love that roller coaster ride. So I think humour has to be at the key of it, particularly if it's British, because I think we have such a good sense of humour, and I don't think that I could write anything without a sense of humour coming through. So that's why I think that's important. And last but not least, satisfying endings. I get really annoyed when I've read a book and I've really invested time in the characters and I really want to know what's happening with them, and then it doesn't really end properly. I actually get very angry. Books get thrown across the room if I do that, because I feel like, but you've taken me on this great journey and I don't know where we've ended up, and it doesn't feel very good. And so that's why I make sure my endings, I always want my endings to be kind of cinematic, amazing things. And they might not end the way you think, but even if they do, and you kind of suspect you know what's going to happen, I think it's how that's executed at the end that's so important. So those are what I think are the key points for me of chick lit. I hope that has sort of answered your question. Dot Scribbles, hello. She wants to know if I have any writer superstitions. I don't have any superstitions. I do have you know, things that I always have with me when I write. I mean, you see that I always do these vlogs at the moment on my sofa. Well, this is where I write at the moment. This is actually the last year when I don't have an office. I'm going to be moving to a lovely house in December, and I'll have an office there, which will be amazing. But until then, this is where I write. So I sit on here this way with my laptop on my lap. I do have this. This is my random rug from the Atlantic Blanket Company that I bought last year, and this has been over my knees for every edit of every book that I've done, because it's just so lovely and cosy. And for some unknown reason, when I put that over my knees, then my laptop on my knees, and I think, right, I'm ready to go now. So that's probably about the only superstition I've got. So I hope that answers your question. Finally, I had a really lovely email from Paige. Hi Paige. She wanted to know, do I know exactly what's going to happen at the end of my books, or do I kind of make it up as I go along? I kind of have an idea of where it's going, and I've had to be more structured now that I'm planning more, you know, now that I've got this sort of schedule that I'm on with my books. But I do like there to be a little bit of the unknown, and certainly when you get into the last few chapters of writing the book, there's like this magical thing that happens at the end, and you kind of get swept along with it, and then the ending, there's always something that surprises you. So I think I know generally where it's going, but then I like to have a little bit of surprise on the journey as well. So there we go, that's it for this week. Hope that's answered all your questions. And if you've got any comments, you know what to do. Pop them in the box underneath the blog post. Let me know what you think of my mystery stranger, if you think that he's okay. And please just keep your questions coming in, because I love answering them for you. And I'll see you next week. Take care, bye.